Hey guys, I wanted to recap last night's game. The Lakers take a commanding 3-1 lead. Bear with me a little bit because I'm fighting through a cold, but yeah, Lakers took a 3-1 lead. We all know the statistics. If you're up 3-1, you got a 95% chance of moving on. Now, it's a little bit deceptive because one, this series has been really close. Two, because usually it's the home team that has a 3-1 advantage, not the road team. And then third of all, I think these games are not indicative of who the better team is. I think the Warriors are the better team, but I think the Lakers are executing much better. They're much more focused and locked in. And they're making less. They're not beating themselves. I feel the Warriors are making a lot of mistakes and beating themselves up. I think that was the case last night. They were winning most of the game, but they really executed poorly in the fourth quarter between poor shot taking, turnovers, and then the bad defensive sequences. We'll talk about that, but I think the first thing to notice is that AD and the Lakers defense have just been unreal. I mean, they held the Warriors to less than 100 points, 3 nights ago, and then last night they held them to 100 points for a Warriors team who averages north of 110. That's pretty impressive. And the problem that Steve Kerr is having right now is the Warriors like to run a motion type offense and play a lot of off the ball action. And the problem is that all that off the ball action, they're pressing up on the shooter. So especially Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, all those guys are pressing up and daring them to go inside, where AD's waiting for them and challenging their shots. And so the counter that Steve Kerr made last night is he inserted Gary Payton in the lineup, and he did a lot of more pick and rolls involving AD. And we saw it on both sides, where now both teams are hunting each other's best players on defense. So the unsung hero, Lonnie Walker, who came up huge in the fourth yesterday, he was picking on Steph a lot. And then they were also picking on Klay a lot. LeBron was posting up Klay a lot. And then on offense, yeah, the Warriors, a lot of pick and roll action with Gary Payton. That's why Gary Payton had such a good night. And to get AD in the pick and roll and tire him out. The problem, and it was working well, and they got a lot of points in the paint. They dominated the points in the paint, the Warriors did. The problem with that, though, is that I think the Warriors are becoming too Steph-centric. And you saw that I think he got tired down the stretch. I think that's why he missed some of his shots. I thought he obviously he didn't call timeout, but that's a tough bang play. Like you have very little time to react before somebody jumps on you. But Steph was miss. I didn't like his second look, but the first one he usually makes that one. They had AD switch on him 1-on-1, and you gotta like that matchup if you're Warriors. But I felt he looked like he was a little bit tired to me. He at least didn't play that 1-on-1 very well. And give AD credit because that was great defense. So, but the problem is that all the others for the Warriors are not getting involved. Except for the guy who's rolling, which is Gary Payton. But what the Warriors need to do is they need to figure out what the Warriors in the past, like why they've been so good, is they're very unselfish with the ball. They get everybody involved. That ball's moving. They find the open shooter and they're knocking down shots. The problem is if they're too Steph centric, then Klay Thompson and Jordan Poole, unless you start putting them more in pick and rolls, they become kind of useless. And you saw Jordan Poole's done nothing. I mean, to be honest, Jordan Poole has been a total no-show. I think he's a big reason why the Warriors are struggling. And he just hasn't found his shot. And Steve Kerr can't play him because defensively he's a liability. But you look at the 9 points from Klay Thompson, Klay can't get in rhythm because the Warriors are doing so many pick and roll action on offense. What the Lakers are doing is they're staying home on Klay. And so that's why Gary Payton had all these open layups in the first half, and throughout the game they had a lot of easy layups that I mean, Curry missed two blank ones at the rim. Some other ones were just missed, and so. But the problem is that I mean, Draymond had a wide open layup, and then he decided to pass it up, and I think it ended up in a Wiggins missed three. I forgot exactly. No, it ended up in a turnover. So, so the Warriors got to find a way to get the other guys involved because although Steph had 30 points and 13 assists and 11 rebounds, they're kind of those triple doubles that are deceptive. They're a lot like the Westbrook triple doubles and the James Harden's, even to some extent to LeBron James at times, where yeah, you're putting up a lot of stats, but it's because you're dominating the ball and you're not really getting your teammates involved. And so I think the adjustments the Warriors got to make is whether they're doing their off the ball or on ball pick and rolls, off ball action or on ball pick and rolls, they got to get the other guys involved. They got to move the ball, rotate the ball, and they might miss some shots, but they got to get involved. And I think playing at home will help, but they got to play the type of unselfish basketball where they trust each other. And one of the big issues is, with Andrew Wiggins being gone for so long, Steph Curry had some injuries, and just guys constantly in and out of the lineup, is you're seeing, Gary Payton didn't play much. You're seeing, Steve Kerr having a hard time finding five guys he can rely on. And so for the Warriors, that's kind of the big issues. For the Lakers, they got to just keep doing what they're doing. Keep banging. I mean, Lonnie Walker's probably not going to have another game like this. But keep banging down low. Keep feeding AD. AD was exhausted. I think that's why they didn't feed him as much in the second half. But you got to keep feeding AD and LeBron down low and taking advantage of those mismatch. And one of the things that also frustrated me about the Warriors defensively was they were switching way too much. And switching is great, for example, if you're the Lakers, because it negates the three-point shot really well because you're able to really get up on the shooter. It's a bad idea, though, because a lot of times you ended up with AD on Steph Curry, so a big guy on a little guy. So that's why a lot of teams don't like to fully switch. And in the worst case, listen, if the Lakers beat you from outside, they beat you from outside. But what you don't want is all the free throws, the stoppage, the lack of rhythm. Don't give them wide open threes, but hey, if you give up challenge threes, off the pick and roll, you can still challenge the shot. And usually they're a little bit rushed threes. Now, Steph is great at them, but a guy like most of the shooters on the Lakers are not great pick and roll like on a, pick and roll 3-point hitters. If one guy gets hot, then maybe you got to switch that pick and roll. But in general, the Warriors, I feel like, were switching everything, which was a bad idea because, yeah, it negates the three-pointer, but now you got LeBron James one-on-one on Clay, one-on-one on Steph. And essentially it takes out your best defender in Draymond or whoever, or Andrew Wiggins, and Gary Payton, and they're no longer the primary defenders, or Moses Moody, and they're no longer the primary defenders. So I thought the Warriors did a really poor job from that standpoint of switching way too much. Like, that's why Lonnie Walker got off. I mean, beside the guy just got fired, but he was picking on Steph, and Steph was already, handling a heavy load on offense. Now he's got to guard a guy who's 2 inches taller, fresh off the bench. He hasn't even played much in the series. Lonnie Walker had some wide open looks, and the guy caught fire. And give him credit. I'd be surprised if he has another game like that, but give the Lakers credit. And Lonnie Walker was great on defense. Schroeder was great on defense. Anthony Davis is great on defense. So Vanderbilt only played 11 minutes for the Lakers. So those are the main issues I'm seeing for the Warriors. Is offensively they're too Steph centric, and they're allowing Anthony Davis to just completely, shut him down on offense, and then on defense, they're switching too much, they're fouling too much, and they're sending the Lakers too much to the free throw line. So those are the main things. Another thing I was kind of curious about is why, Steve Kerr, didn't play Gary Payton as much in the fourth quarter. And then also the Warriors' execution in the last, they were handling that game they just executed really, really poorly. Again, turnovers, bad shots by Clay, and even like I said, some of the stuff I thought you want the Anthony Davis matchup one on one on Steph. He just didn't take very good advantage of it. I don't know if he was tired or whatever, but that fadeaway three. Um, I didn't like that look. I think he had time to go inside and get AD more off balance, especially AD at that point is extremely tired. So, um, again, I like the Warriors going forward. I don't think, I mean, when I say I like them, I think they can win this series, but it's probably 65-35 Lakers, 70-30 Lakers, just because it's hard to win 3 games in the NBA straight, even if 2 of them are at home. But um, I think they will win tomorrow night. I think they have a very good chance of winning in Los Angeles. I think it'll be probably 60-40 LA. But, the longer a series goes, I think it's going to favor the Warriors. One, because they'll have more energy. Two, because by that time, you can tell the Lakers were better prepared for the Warriors just because they had a shorter series against Memphis. And so you can tell they're just much better organized, and they're executing much better, and they know exactly what they want to do. While the Warriors, it feels like they're still experimenting, and they're making a lot of really bad execution mistakes that you wouldn't expect champs to be making. So for those 2 reasons, the longer the series goes, and also we saw it in the Sacramento series, but home court advantage, as you go further into a series, is less and less advantageous because simply you get used to the crowd and you get used to playing under that kind of atmosphere. At first, it's intimidating, and then you just get more and more used to it. And so I think the others will get better playing in LA because the Warriors are awful from 3-pointers in Los Angeles, and that's usually their strengths. So I think that will change. So for all those factors, I'm positive for the Warriors, but obviously it's not a situation you want into, and obviously the Lakers at this point are heavily favorite. Last thing I want to mention is the officiating. So I'm hearing a lot of talk about the free throw disparity. And I'm not going to lie. I'm a neutral observer, but I am biased for Golden State just because I like their playing style and I like their players more. But I'm not fundamentally a Warriors fan. But, there's no doubt. So the thing we're hearing a lot on officiating is, right, that the Lakers are the best team at causing free throws and they're the best team at preventing free throws. And so that's why the disparity is normal and they're attacking the paint. And so that's why the free throw disparity is normal. That sounds great until you get into the numbers. And the numbers, Lakers average 26 free throws a game in the regular season, and the Warriors average 20 free throws a game during the regular season. So there's about a 6 free throw between the 2 teams disparity. Now, yesterday, I think there was only an 8 free throw disparity between the 2 teams. So I actually thought, although the officiating, still favored LA, which is normal because they're at home, it was more even. I thought in Game 3 it was pretty bad, and in Game 1 it was atrocious. Like in Game 1, the free throw disparity was 29-6. So there should be a disparity between the 2 teams. It should never be 23 free throws or 20 free throws. That's just, and it should never happen 2 times in 3 games. Those are just, one of those is an outlier, and sometimes, I don't know. Some team plays with way more energy than the other, and then there's the right referee that favors the playing style of the Lakers, and you're at home. You can kind of add the factors, and it turns into something really, really a huge disparity. But when it happens 2 times in 3 games, that's a little bit a red flag. There was just a lot of bad calls yesterday, again. But I think there's probably some too on the Warriors. So I think yesterday was more even officiating. And at best, the series is 2-2 if the officiating was a little bit more even. And I also think it's important to remember that, it's a lot like, I was going to say in soccer, with penalties. It's like, if people say, well, if that team had gotten a penalty, they would have evened it up. but also teams play according to the score. So um, if the Warriors had more free throws, the score would have been different, and the Lakers would have played differently too. Because you naturally play different to the score. So I'm not saying that the officiating is deciding the series, but I don't think the officiating has been very even or has been very good in especially 2 of the 4 games. And even to be honest, in Game 2, I thought it favored the Warriors a lot. Um, but I think in 3 out of the 4 games it's favored LA, and in 2 out of the 4 games it severely favored LA. So that's what I'll say about the officiating. But I'm really excited about this series because it's been really, really good. I really hope it goes at least 6 games, and I'd really like to see it go 7 games. Although Lakers fans don't want it to go 7 games, but so yeah, that's that. And then the Boston Philly game is going on right now, so I'll probably recap that tomorrow with the Warriors and Lakers game. All right, bye guys.